Let's talk about this full preview now. Ranked Apex negative LP gains. We found and are resolving the cause of some Apex tier negative LP issues. Aegis of Valor, which I still think it's a massive mistake, bro. Like, I still don't understand how this, like, why is this still, like, the way it is? This Aegis of Valor thing, like, if you're autofill, how are you incentivized to win? It doesn't matter if you get double LP. The fact that you lose no LP and it's so easy to get C is so crazy. Now, okay, they're swapping from C to B, but I still think it's really easy to get B. Maybe it's just me. At least like this way, it's like more fair. C was like ridiculous. Duo at top of Challenger. After being able to observe the power of duos and how they're performing, the very top of the ladder, rank 1 and 2 together, or two times top 10 are too strong together. We're making adjustments to make those games more fair. Okay, so I guess they're gonna be. I guess, like, what? They're gonna have even worse teammates? Is that, like, what's happening here? Enabling climbing indicator. Climbing indicator is a feature that will allow players to understand when there's someone the rank is low but their MMR is high. Okay, whatever. Jungle champions. A lot of proposed changes yesterday that were causing alarm were actually jungle specific changes. Don't worry, we're not trying to buff Nefiri meat. Well, that was kinda obvious. In the new season, we wanted to increase jungle ability to take objectives as part of their unique role power. That is like really weird to me, because jungle last season already had complete unique role power of taking objectives. They made it even worse this season, sure, but like, how was it any different last season? It was the same thing. Amongst a few things like epic monster durability adjustment. So Jake's got a lot more armor, and this is why like AD champions were struggling more in the patch than like AP and tanks. Some new item additions caused a large internal shift of which champs were strong and weak. This patch is our first pass at rebalancing these champions across the board. Many AD junglers are getting buffed and AP junglers are getting nerfed. Item changes. There's a bunch of concern about RYZE specialing certain champions like Dusk and Dawn users. For the most part, this is targeted at being power neutral in the item, but shifting its power budget somewhat. Some champs like Diana, Ekavar synergize disproportionately extremely well and will receive target nerfs. You know, RYZE has done this a lot over the years, where they don't want to admit an item is a problem, then nerf all the champions using the item, and then at some point they nerf the item. Is this gonna be the trajectory that Dusk and Dawn is gonna follow? I don't think Dusk and Dawn is like insanely OP, but it's just slightly too OP. And the synergy that Echo has with this item is still like just way too unhealthy for the game. Echo should not be able to proc passive just by QE. Like, this is such a enormous power to the champion, because then the passive starts sticking earlier. The burst comes in faster. Like, the move speed comes in faster. Like, it is such a big difference maker. So Actualize is being buffed. RYZE is getting nerfed. Mal. Okay, let's just go through the changes. So I was actually checking some win rates before we go over the changes, and a lot of these changes are basically just targeted at like 1+% win rate, right? This is like Riot's favorite balancing lever is always like champion getting roughly 1% plus win rate or -1%. So Ahri lost around 1% in the new season. Riot is trying now to bring back some of the power on Ahri, and they're going for another W buff. W already actually got buffed last time as well. Yeah, probably also makes it a little bit better now again to max W second compared to E, because W keeps getting buffed. Belveth, yeah, it's gonna be probably like 1% win rate. Belveth is also getting around 1% win rate, right? Some health growth and some R base on hit damage. Also, Belveth lost a lot of win rate in the new season. Briar, 5 health. Armor goes 0.3. Ability health cost 5%. This is probably slightly over 1% win rate. Draven, 0.4 AD growth. Draven also suffered a lot of win rate loss in this new season. Ezreal also suffered more than 1% win rate loss. Actually, looking at stats, Trinity Force seems to be actually the better item on Ezreal compared to Essence River. Even though a lot of people are claiming Essence River is better. I was looking today and Trinity seems to be better. AD growth 0.5, more damage for Ezreal. EAD ratio up by 10%. That's kind of like whatever. The AD growth buffs are like the bigger ones here. This is at least 1% win rate to Ezreal. Hecarim getting also a buff because he's worse on the new season. 20 base damage on Q. This will matter a lot on such a short cooldown spammable ability. And the Q bonus damage ramp is going up early. This is a buff until 225 bonus AD. Oh, because the base damage is going up, so they're nerfing the ramp until you have 220 AD. Okay, it is a huge early game buff though. You don't reach bonus 225 bonus AD on Hikrim that easily. You need more than 3 items to reach that point. So yeah, Hikrim is just buffed. Heimerdinger 4 more health growth per level. And W first rocket base damage up by 10%. Also champ that lost some win rate in the new season. Kayn, it's hard to read Kayn's win rate, like Riot reads them better because you know, they have separate data for Shadow Assassin and Rust, but when you look at like low analytics, you don't get a separate data for them, which is really unfortunate for Kayn. But 20 damage on Q. Remember, this ability procs twice, so this is 50 damage in total if you hit both parts of Q. I remember there was a Kayn build where you did like 3 points Q into W max. Now you're more incentivized to just finish the points into Q, and also some lane Kayn, a little bit of a buff here. Maokai, I was checking Maokai win rate. Seems to actually not have lost much win rate in the new season. Seems to be pretty identical, so they're just buffing Maokai. But it's only 10 damage buff, which is very small. I don't think this is gonna really do anything. This is a complete placebo buff, and yeah. Naafiri, passive monster mod damage up as well. Naafiri lost some win rate in jungle in the new season. Buffing her clear, which makes sense. Now she's gonna have more of a human clear. Nunu, W maximum base damage is going up by 30. E base damage is going up as well a little bit. Nunu got nerfed pretty heavily last patch. Riot had to swing hard because Nunu was like the best champ in the game when the season released, and they're not gonna adjust home guard, so they have to nerf Nunu a lot because the snowball home guard is really strong. And yeah, not much to say. They over nerfed him, so now they have to buff him up a bit. Trundle is doing really bad this season. This is more of a top lane buff than jungle, but buff to both roles. Armor growth up by 0.6 and AD growth up by 0.5. Trundle is getting at least 2% win rate with this buff, at least, if not more. Yeah, a lot of free stats for Trundle. A lot of free per level stats. And top lane, a little bit more XP. Tryndamere is getting 0.5 AD growth. I think Tryndamere is one of the worst champs in League right now. And as much as 0.5 AD growth is really nice on a champ that auto-attacks constantly, it's gonna be at least 1% win rate, but yeah, it's not gonna make Tryndamere that much better. He's just garbage. Vi, health growth 6%, 6 up, so a little bit more than other champs. AD growth also 0.5. So Vi, I don't understand why this buff is happening. This champ is a very big pro play presence. It's very hard to balance her. She has very low solo Q units, right? Because of pro play. I don't know. I just think people in pro are gonna perma-pick Vi after this changes probably, because I don't see why not. I mean, this is crazy buff, right? This is like 2% winner to Vi. When Vi is at that high win rates, I mean, people play her perma. I don't know. I just think people will start playing Vi constantly in pro. It's crazy to me. Xin Zhao lost some win rate, around 1% I was checking today on the new season. Passive max health up a little bit, more healing, and E bonus attack speed up as well. So, with E bonus attack speed going up by 20% on the max rank, this makes it so you're more incentivized now to max W second. Because before, the max order that was correct was always W into Q. Now you might consider W into E, right? So your Riot is making some choice here, right? They're giving you choice. Should you max Q? Should you max E? Yone Q damage up by 0.05 total AD. So small buff to Yone Q. His squishiness is still gonna be the same. His weakness to CC is still gonna be the same. His weak early laning phase is still kind of the same, but he hits harder if he hits the Q. So I kind of like the buff because it's like makes skill expression more better for a champ like Yone. Zahin Q monster mod damage 0.25. E bonus monster damage is 25. So what's interesting about Zahin here is they're buffing only jungle Zahin. This won't really affect top lane Zahin. I mean, jungle Zahin is pretty bad, but I kind of don't think he's coming back even with his buffs unless the clear speed is ridiculous, which I don't think it will be. I think Zahin's kit is probably just a little bit better suited for top lane. Overall, think the champ is kind of weak. So yeah, a lot of plus 1% winner buffs here across the board. Nothing really too special, honestly. A lot of like 0.5 AD growths, a lot of like 4 health per level buffs, a lot of like some armor growth buffs. It's just a lot of base stats buffs. Braum, 20 less health, so 30 is around 1% win rate usually. Q base damage down by 20, so now with the Q losing a lot of its damage, you're more incentivized again to do the 3 points Q into Emax or whatever, maybe just outright Emax. So that is yeah, a little bit of a Braum nerf. He's very high win rate. He's one of the best supports in the game. Makes sense. He's still gonna be solid in some cases. Diana, finally, after God knows how long, is getting her passive nerfed. Less Thanos full clear on Diana. She's just cheating so much tempo because she just jumps over so many walls while full clearing and kills camps in a second. Yeah, deserved nerf. She's gonna be a lot weaker. She won't be clearing 15 seconds before the crab now. She won't have as much tempo, but she will still probably clear slightly before the crab, I would assume. Echo getting a mid lane and jungle nerf, 10% AP ratio on passive, which is really easy to proc with Dusk and Down, and Dusk and Down is also gonna do a little bit less damage. Passive damage monster also down by 30%. I'm actually surprised because I never see Echo jungle, but I only see Echo mid lane. But this passive damage to monsters nerf is also a mid lane Echo nerf, because mid lane Echo in late game can like do 2k damage to Baron without having smite because the passive does so much damage. So this will also nerf the ability for mid lane Echo to steal objectives or secure objectives by a lot. Nyla, 2 less AD and armor go down by 0.3, so this is looking a little bit over 1% win rate nerf for Nyla. Riven, passive total AD ratio down by 5%, Q bonus AD ratio down by 5%, so Riven is losing some damage, which I think is fair. I still think that maybe the problem with Riven is her level 6 all-in. I kind of feel like her level 6 all-in is a little bit too strong. It's kind of like weird where Riven can be like 30 CS down in lane and then she just hits level 6, presses all her buttons and one-shots you. I still kind of feel like that part about Riven maybe should be like nerfed a little bit, but scaling nerf to Riven, okay, sure, fine. RYZE, so RYZE is getting nerfed. W will lose 0.1, so 10% AP ratio and 1% bonus mana ratio. But actualizer is costing 300 less. In my humble opinion, I kind of think this is a buff to RYZE. Like, I don't really see how this is a nerf. Now, there's a phase rush nerf, and then there's a triple tonic and cashback nerf. And these are runes and that RYZE really uses. So maybe in that sense, RYZE will be nerfed. But if you just look at the RYZE nerf and the actualizer nerf, I think with actualizer costing only 2.8k gold, it's going to be a pretty cheap item. So you're going to buy this third every game on RYZE, is how I see this. Every single game. Roa, Seraph's actualizer. Every single game. It's just way too good on that champion. I think the W nerf, not bad, honestly. It seems like a really small nerf to me. Varus, 0.6 armor growth nerf. So this is 1% win rate already. W on hit AP ratio down by 0.1, and then W max AP ratio also down. So they're nerfing Dusk and Down AP Varus build. They're nerfing top lane Varus as well because he loses a lot more armor. And they are nerfing also lethality of Varus via armor. So I think the nerf is fine. They're kind of keeping the same strength of Varus, which is like the long range damage and poke. And they are making Varus's weakness more of a weakness, which is that he has very little armor as a champion, and that when you see Varus in enemy team, you should just engage, right? You should just Ambassa, you should just Vi, you should just Jarvan, you should just Talon, Zed, I don't know. You should just champs that jump on Varus because he will die very quickly, especially AD champions. Volibear, Q damage, down by 40, but gets 20% bonus AD. So Dusk and Down build in that sense nerfed a little bit more, right? If you go like some sort of a Sojin Trinity Force type of build, less affected. E cooldown up by 2. Huge nerf to lane Volibear here as well, not just jungle Volibear. E non-champion damage cap is going down by 40 as well, so less of a clear as well. kind of weird that they're nerfing. I don't know if Volibear is like a problem in top lane or just jungle. I'm not sure, but these are very big Volibear nerfs. Wow, I mean losing a lot of damage. Actually, now that I think about it, I mean the biggest nerf is the E cooldown for lane, right? Like 2 seconds on E and your champion. I mean, it is something. Actually, it's actually take it back. It's definitely bigger jungle nerf because you're maxing Q, top lane Volibear, you're probably maxing like W first, and then the E is like the big part. So I guess more of a jungle nerf. Passive monster damage on Zat goes to 0.5. By the way, this used to be 2. What the fuck? How did we go from 2 to 0.5? They basically sliced Zat passive in 1/4. Like, what the fuck? That's crazy. Passive epic monster damage cap 200. So they are even further nerfed. Wow, so Zed is gonna be a horrible Jargon killer now. Or is that what I'm getting at here? If Zed is hitting Jargon under 50% health, he does no damage to it? Wow. Zed jungle is dead, I think. I mean, that just looks like a killer to me. Jace. So melee Q base damage will go up by 25. Range Q base damage will go down by 25 and 0.51 bonus AD. Q bonus monster damage will go down by 10. Arcanum armor MR shred will go up by 10 to, yeah, by 10%. Okay. Massive Jace nerfs. I think even top lane nerfs. Obviously, massive jungle Jace nerfs, but I also think that range Q damage is just more important on top lane than melee Q damage is just in general when you play Jace at the high levels. So, in my opinion, just overall big Jace nerfs, and I think this champion will die in jungle with this. I would say he will die in jungle, yeah. Mal, Actualizer, 300 gold cheaper. Okay, this item is finally looking competitive. Huge buff. 300 gold on item, no joke. Very cheap. It's going to be a Cassiopeia item, maybe. It's gonna be an Anivia item, probably. It's gonna maybe be a Syndra item, maybe, at some point. Maybe it's gonna be an Ori item. Can maybe see it. A lot of champions will start using this, I think. Especially if you like mana. Anivia and Cassiopeia, they do buy a lot of mana, right? Because the item scales with mana. I'm trying to think like what other champion buys like Roa Seraphs. Kassadin, not sure if he's gonna use this because the mana on W is a bit on ult is a bit problematic. Veigar, maybe, right? Like maybe I can see Veigar using this. Because he can kind of like combo on the item and then ult does like huge nuke. Yeah. Okay, item is looking competitive. Cashback is only getting 0.5% nerfed. I was actually surprised when I saw this. I thought this rune would get nerfed at least 1%. I still think cashback will be quite good and will still be played. Phase Rush, one of the biggest changes to the patch. I think this is really huge. Phase Rush is losing 25% range effectiveness. Bonus move speed will go down by 6 to 12.5% or something like that. Okay. Wow. This will slowly shift a lot of mid lane mages to be worse and incentivize more assassin gameplay. Incentivize more Akali, more Echo, more, I don't know, whatever else. Maybe LeBlanc, right? I don't know. RYZE, Orianna, Talia, Anivia. Not sure who else, but these champions will suffer a lot with this nerf. I think it will be noticeable. I think you might consider playing Airy or Comet on, or let's say Orianna, right now, right? Will you be playing Comet on RYZE? I don't know, right? I don't know. Wow, it is a big nerf. Tier 3 defensive boots are getting the shield sliced by about 30%. Okay, deserved, I think. I think the tier 3 Mercs and tier 3 Tabis, very OP. Triple Tonic will get the Elixir of Force bonus, nerfed only by 5. Wow, so that's like a very small nerf. I think Triple Tonic will still be a really good rune that you will play every time, and I think you're still gonna play Cashback. So I think the Triple Tonic Cashback is kind of staying. Turret plates will now be squishier, right? So if you're hitting them solo, they're both scale with number of enemy champions. Actually, I don't know exactly how this works. I think overall they're squishier, if I understand this correctly. Champion bounties, the relation rate 1 per 2.5 given out to 1 per 3.5 given out. Revenation rate from farming 1 per 5 gold to 1 per 7 gold. So I think this just means that if you die multiple times, you're worth more gold now. Dusk and Dawn will lose 25% base AD on Spellblade, but will get 50 more health. So you're losing about 10 to 20 damage per proc of Dusk and Dawn. But you're getting 50 health. I don't know if this is a buff. I don't know if this is a nerf. I think overall the item is still really strong and it doesn't matter. Endless Hunger. Additional longsword in build path, which is really nice, and the cost goes up by 100, but you get 5 more AD. Wow, kinda awkward change for Endless Hunger. It is quite expensive item, but the build path is slightly better, but I don't think the build path being a little bit better matters. And the reason why is because you're buying this item late, and when you're buying it late, you don't have a lot of inventory space. So I don't think it matters if you get an additional longsword. It's just not that impactful. Now, 5 more AD for 100 more gold is obviously favorable for 5 AD, but it is a more expensive item. Overall, it's kind of the same item. You're buying it in the same spots, and you're buying it on the same champions, and when you get it, it's slightly stronger. Okay, cool. Protoplasm Harness will get 5 more haste. The Lifeline max health gain increase will go up by 100 level scaling. Lifeline healing will go down with armor and MR by a lot. Okay. I'm trying to understand. So if I understand correctly, the reason why they're doing this is they're trying to nerf Ramus with this item. They're trying to make Ramus not be hardbound by this item. This item has such an aggressive armor and MR scale that Ramus synergizes too well with it, because Ramus presses W and then this item pops and he gets insane amounts of health, right? So they're nerfing the scaling but giving it more base. So they're making the item overall easier to access, but they're nerfing it for its best users like Leona and Ramus. Is that how I'm reading this? I think this is how you read this. I think this is like needed long term, and it's probably a good change long term. Anyway, overall, I'm very curious to see how the phase rush nerfs are gonna play out. I think it's gonna be very noticeable. I really do wonder if like assassins are gonna take over or middle meta will shift here a little bit. Actualizer, I'm very curious to see how this is gonna slot in mid lane. How many champions are gonna be able to use this? And yeah, welcome to the +1 -1% win rate nerf patch. Echo passive nerf will mean you will need an extra autos and melees at level 7 for mid lane. Really? Oh, that could be true, yeah. It could change the wave clear breakpoint. You could be right about that. Wow, that's pretty huge for the champion, yeah.